For the past 9 months or so, I've been decluttering everything I own, specifically my pens and lettering supplies. If I had to guess, I would say at least 50% of what I had before is gone. I'm Sarah from Ensign Insights, and I really love pens. I'm the person who always takes the hotel room pen because I just love pens. So how did I go from that to 50% gone? Let me explain with a story. I remember the day that changed everything. I was sitting on the floor in front of my desk drawers, staring at my pens. I was breathing hard, trying to tell myself to stay calm, but there was nothing calm about the police lights flashing outside and the megaphone telling everyone to evacuate and get out now. It felt like the fire was on top of us because of the black, billowing clouds that I had watched getting closer throughout the day. This couldn't be happening to me. All of our suitcases were piled in the doorway, ready to go. It was just my pens left to pack. I had to make the choice which ones could come and which ones I would never see again. In my panic, I started dumping pens in my backpack and any suitcase that I had left. I couldn't leave that $2 clearance notebook. I'd never find a deal like that again, right? What about the really expensive pens that I hadn't even tried yet? I spent money on those. And what about all those pens that I bought to review for YouTube videos but hadn't gotten around to it yet? They all had to come. Luckily, we had a safe place to stay that night with friends, but waking up in the morning, I hugged my husband and my baby a little tighter as I realized something. All the stuff that was crammed into our car was just stuff. I actually had everything I needed to be happy right there. We were one of the lucky few who got to return to our home untouched by the fire. And that's when I started looking into decluttering and minimalism. When we had to evacuate, I actually felt like my world was ending because I had to leave my stuff behind. And I never wanted to feel that way again. Something had to change. Maybe you're drowning in the mess of decluttering, or maybe you feel good about where you are and you just like watching other people declutter. Either way, let me share with you what I've decluttered and 3 resources that have helped me to know what to keep and what to throw out. I'll also share what my office looks like now after getting rid of so much. To start, here was my first big declutter. I have been decluttering my pens a lot, so I'm actually getting rid of a lot of pens. I feel like I can do more creatively if I have less pens, just because I have so many pens that I just never even use, and that's not really doing any good for me. It's not doing any good for the pens. Pens are made to be used. I have a neighbor friend who is lettering, and so I am going to give them to her. So I'm going to show you really quick which pens I am getting rid of. I recorded the pens I was getting rid of so I could eventually make a video. So that's what these pens are. And here's the thing, I love trying new pens. I love learning about them and discovering if it's going to be a good fit for my style. I love sharing reviews with you. I love comparing pens. I love discovering new ways to create something with a new pen. That brings me a lot of joy. So that doesn't need to be cut out of my life. It's the overwhelming inventory of pens that I have to manage that needs to be cut out. So some of these pens I hadn't ever used, or I had something that was similar that I liked better. None of these were bringing me significant joy, so that's why I had to get rid of them. Some I actually liked, but just hadn't used in a long time. And none of them are bad pens, so don't look at these pens as a list of what not to buy. I just had other pens I liked more, and everyone is so different. So for me, these pens weren't making me happy. And here are the 3 specific resources that have helped me change my mindset as I was decluttering and organizing, and they might help you too. First, from Dawn at The Minimal Mom on YouTube. Her channel is full of helpful videos. I watch her every week. She's so good. She has a video about the invisible to-do list where she talks about how everything you own is sending you a message, whether it's positive or negative. If we can reduce the things that are giving us negative messages, we might feel like our invisible to-do list is a little bit lighter. I realized I was holding on to pens that didn't make me feel good. They weren't a good fit for my personal lettering style, but for some reason I was still holding on to them. So those ones definitely had to go. Even if it was someone else's favorite pen, it didn't make me feel good and it had to go. And what was crazy is that even though I wasn't looking at those pens as I was creating, but they were on this invisible to-do list. They were just always there. And by getting rid of them, it's like I freed up space in my mind to be able to be more creative. Number 2 is from Dana at A Slob Comes Clean, talking about the clutter threshold. Have you heard of this before? I read her book, Decluttering at the Speed of Life, which is really good. She also talks about the container method. You restrict yourself to just the container, and if it doesn't fit, something has to go. The clutter threshold was a mindset shift for me that was crazy. So I'll also link to her YouTube video where she explains it in more detail. She talks about how everyone has a different clutter threshold. It's important to know yours because if you're living above your own clutter threshold, you're not going to be happy no matter how organized you're trying to be. There are so many people who can be happy with all the craft supplies and the big, huge desk storage with endless drawers and shelves to store literally everything. But I realized my clutter threshold is not very high. So having too many pens was making it harder for me to create, even when everything was put away in its place. So we have to learn to work with our own personal clutter threshold. To document, here's how it went when I gave 3 boxes of pens to my neighbor friends. I just dropped off all of those pens to my neighbor friends, and they were so excited. Their family has 6 kids, and they are recently homeschooling because of, crazy 2020. And the oldest is the one who's learning to letter, so she was really excited about the brush pens. I just had to share so you know they did go to a happy home. They're definitely going to be enjoyed. When I was trying to unpack from being evacuated, I struggled being able to put it all away until I learned this. So number 3 is from Cassandra at A Clutterbug. She talks about 4 different types of people and how they need to organize in their own unique way. I'll link to her video explaining, but basically the different bug organizing categories are visual or hidden. So do you want to see it or not? And macro or micro. So do you want things grouped together by big sections like with big bins, or really detailed micro sections like my individual pen pouches? I had been trying to organize my pens in someone else's style for years, and so it really helped me to realize why something could work for someone else, but it wouldn't work for me. There's nothing wrong with the different styles. I'll just function better using mine, and the same goes for you. You can watch how I've organized, and maybe you want to try some of it, but you really need to figure out what's going to work best for you. So recently we moved, but before the move, I kind of had things organized. My office space was in our bedroom, and with the move, I got my own office space. So here is what my office looks like now, and moving was really helpful to realign. So I have all of my paper over here. I used to have it in several different places, but now it's all grouped in this bin. And I now have my desk drawers labeled. I had a video about that last week. I'll link to it below. And I have the specific categories. In them, I have my clear pouches, so it's really easy to find everything. And because I like micro organizing, this is the best thing for me. It's also really easy if I need to travel with them or move with them again. They're easy to pack. That was a huge must for me, having experienced just having to dump everything in a backpack. This is way more practical. And on top of my desk, I do have a few things out. These are the ones that I use most often and the things I'm always reaching for. So that's why they get a place on top of my desk. But everything else has its own nice little place tucked away. And I realized I don't need any more than what can fit right here because I won't use it. I have so many pens already. This is my threshold. I don't need more than this. I mean, I want more than this, but it's not going to help me create in the long run. So then moving over, this is the desk where I have my laptop and get some work done. And then on this desk, I have my new Cricut machine. I have some file folders over here. And then in this little bin, I have my vinyl. And then under here in this plastic container, I have my fine point pens, and I even have these plastic drawers pretty organized, which is a huge win for me. These were never organized before. So the top is for my microphones, and then it's my empty journals and notebooks. Then the next two drawers are pens that I need to review. And then once I review them, I'm going to decide if they get to have a place in my main drawers or if they're going to be decluttered. And then the next drawer, I have my Big Karen markers box and some fountain pens. The bottom two drawers here are really random things, and honestly, a lot of it still may end up being decluttered, but I think it's nice to have a place for that kind of like, I don't know where to put it. It needs a little more time to think about getting rid of. I used to not be able to find things because I was living way beyond my clutter threshold, but this is at a really good place for me. What I want you to learn from this is that you don't need to get rid of everything, but you do need a system that works for you to help you create more. You deserve the time and space and energy to take care of yourself, which is what lettering can do for you. One question I've gotten a lot as I've started talking about this is, do I regret getting rid of any? And you know what? Since I gave away my pens, honestly, I haven't missed any of them. I didn't even remember what I had until I sat down to edit this video. I don't regret it. I feel freer to create, and that's the main goal, right? I recently shared a video where I only used one type of pen for a whole month, and it was great. I definitely want to do more of that. So tell me, what is your pen organization like? I hope this video helped you. If you still want to see more office, desk, and pen organization, here's a playlist with more like that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you there.